Heroes and zeros here. Some good Samaritans have saved the life of a man who had a seizure while driving his pickup truck on a highway on Sunday in Atlanta. His truck slowed to a stop. He appeared to be unconscious, so other drivers all gathered round to help. The doors were locked. They were looking for a crowbar. Somebody smashed through the back window, and other people crawled inside. A woman who worked at a hospital stayed with him and did first aid until responders showed up. That's impressive.
Found the key. Oh, crap, dude. It's underneath the wheel well.
Oh, dang it.
It's one of those hide keys. Here's the first place you look.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
It just
Crack.
broke through. We have the audio.
I looked over to the right and I saw an older guy driving his car, but he was leaned over, so he had passed out. What's going on?
There's the smashing of the window. And then she got inside. She crawled in and sat next to him.
How about that?
Cooled him down and all that kind of thing. Zero. That's a hero. Here's a zero. Guy named Reginald Horner, driving drunk on Friday, picked up his stepchild from daycare in Palatka, Florida.
Oof.
This is 90 miles north of Orlando. The daycare workers didn't realize he was drunk, gave the child to him, sent the kid home with him. Reginald showed up an hour later to pick up the child again because he forgot. Now, it's only funny because nobody was hurt, thank God, and the child is okay.
I'm here to get my stepkid.
She's in the back seat.
Oh, God. She's crafty.
He's been arrested. At that point, they called the police.
I'll take another kid.
Oh, jeez. Dave was just talking about his dad, who still drives at an advanced age.
90.
My father drove into his 80s, but we realized he had to give up the license because now he was battling Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And he was driving, but he only went about a mile a day. But he went to get his license at the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
He had to redo it every 5 years, of course. So he goes, does it, gets him fine, gets the license fine, passes the sign test, all that stuff. The next day, goes back to get the license again. Forgotten he had done it. And then they were in there like, what's going on? And then they called me. And I was like, well, he's just being thorough, you know. Then
I know this is going to sound strange. He loves you all. He loves the DMV. He'll probbe come back tomorrow.
Who doesn't love
He
it?
wanted a better picture?
Oh, I know. And then I was like, oh, no. So then they made him go through and do like the street test and all of that. I mean, he got the license again eventually, but he had to do all that test and everything. And at that point, my sister and I were like,
Yeah, let's cut this up.
Yeah.
yeah, golly, that's a bad time.
Yeah.
When a person loses their license, that is a bad time. This guy should lose his license forever for doing that. Forgot he had his kid in the back seat.
Well, they'll get in trouble now. I mean,
Yeah,
if they turned him in, I guess they turned
They
him
did.
in.
He's been arrested. He's been arrested,
If
yeah.
you drive drunk with a kid
child?
in the car,
Can't prove he was drunk the first time,
you were done.
bro.
Can they prove?
How can you prove it? He got her home.
Well, but no, when he came back, they called police and kept him there, and they tested him and everything. He
Well,
was
that's
drunk.
fine. He was drunk then.
He was drunk then.
But not with a kid.
Yeah, the kid was in the
The
back
kid's
seat.
in the back seat.
Oh.
The kid was still with him, and so they got him
Oh.
again.
The kid was probably napping.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A New York City police officer is being hailed a hero today after saving a stabbing victim using a bag of chips and duct tape to stop bleeding enough to keep the victim alive. His name is Ron Kennedy. Bystanders and other emergency personnel talked about what happened. Apparently, when he got to the scene, he found the guy bleeding out. He decided to take the only thing he had, a bag of potato chips, and slam him against the guy's chest and tape it there. Amazing.
We knew right away that we needed to seal the chest, and with a puncture wound there, we didn't want the air going in and collapsing his lung.
He told me, go in the store, give me a bag of chips. I got him a bag of chips. Then he went back and said, get me some tape. I came back in here, got him some tape.
The effect was immediate and apparent. As soon as Ron finished basically getting that dressing on there, that bag of chips, right away we noticed a drastic improvement in his condition.
Now, can the bag of chips be consumed and resold on the shelf of the
I know what
grocery
you're
store?
thinking. What kind of chips?
What kind of chips?
Yeah, I mean, it's vague. Though.
Is there anything less sanitary than a bag of chips in a New York bodega? And the man lying on the street, why didn't you tell him to get tape and a bag of chips the first time? Go give me a bag of chips. Got it.
All good points.
Where's the tape? You didn't say tape.
You said chips.
That's true. And if I had been the guy going to get the chips, I'd be like, you want like tortilla or barbecue or what?
Gosh, do you have Cool Ranch?
Just get the
What
potato
kind of
chips.
chips?
Ridges or no ridges,
What kind of
wavy.
chips do you want?
You want these Takis?
That's the question.
Takis.
Always the question. I know. That's a hero. Here's a zero. A 31-year-old man in Northern Ireland has been arrested for having drugs up his backside, in his butt cheeks, tucked in between, and in fact, he had a pretty good deal of heroin there. The police asked him about it, and he said, someone must have put that there without my knowledge.
That's not mine.
That happens a lot.
It's the heroin leprechaun.
You know,
They do that when you sleep, you know.
it happens a lot that people have cocaine or heroin or something up their butt and say, I have no idea. I don't know how that got there. Police were responding to a disturbance outside a bar. They found him hiding in the bathroom. They wouldn't have even arrested him. They checked him after that and found that, yes, he had heroin up his butt.
Too bad for him.
Yep, that's a zero. A hero is a teenager celebrating his birthday who stopped an intruder from coming into the house. This was in Harrison Township in New Jersey. Man in jail after deputies said he tried to break into a home while 4 teens were inside along with parents. They were having a birthday party for a 15-year-old. The 15-year-old grabbed a samurai sword off the wall and chased him out into the yard and hit him with it. And they ended up arresting the guys who were trying to break in. Yeah, that's a pretty impressive thing. And if you're 15 years old.
Yeah, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, if you've got a samurai sword in your house, it's going to get used on a family member.
Yeah.
It never is used for self-defense. This is very rare.
This case only. The father showed home surveillance on his phone to the police officers, showed the man causing damage to his property. A guy went in, was hanging around his pool also, but the teenager chased him out with that sword.
Nice, they have an Asian decor.
Yeah, it seems like they do.
This Midwest.
This is the dad.
They screamed and ran and hid in the closet. And our oldest boy, he actually grabbed a samurai sword and ran after the guy. This 15th birthday is going to stick with him forever.
Your thoughts when you see somebody with a samurai sword hanging in the house somewhere? Many times that is a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
That's always ends up going bad.
I think a true samurai sword is quite long,
yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if this was just one of those shorter blades.
Yeah. They're calling samurai. You know something about
Well,
this.
I have a good friend of mine. He was my first roommate, and he had a sword in our place because he thought if somebody broke in and he came at him with a sword, they would think this guy's crazy.
Right.
So that was his. But his, hard to say. I mean, it wasn't real sharp or anything. I don't think he could have actually stabbed anyone with it. It was like a kind of a mock sword.
Would you say it was full length?
No, it was like a shorter samurai. It was a samurai sword that he had just got, I think, probably at a pawn shop or something. But his thought was sword equals crazy. So even if they're coming in with guns, they'll be like, whoa.
Does he go up there like Kill Bill style with it?
Yeah, that's what his plan was, to come down the steps, Kill Bill style.
And do they also say crazy? You think somebody's crazy when you see one of those pull-up bars that is installed in like a doorway inside the house. People say, oh, whoever lives here must be crazy.
Yeah, or they're getting ready to go crazy.
Right, right. So you come in and you're immediately on edge because of that.
Got to get fit.
There's a zero in Australia. A woman who has been arrested because she had cigarettes delivered by drone. She's quarantined, and she had her cigarettes delivered in by drone on the roof of a hotel. She was caught by a hotel staff member walking to the roof to get the cigarettes.
And that's
illegal. What's wrong with that?
I was going to say, what's wrong with that?
Not supposed to leave the room. It was a 2-story hotel, and she was down on the first floor, but she was so desperate for cigs that she was able to get somebody to put them on a drone and deliver them to her.
And I just hovered right outside her room.
Yeah, she could have gotten out. She could have, or drop them, or just got, but she was not supposed to leave that room at all.
The window doesn't open.
Yeah. She's not supposed to leave that room.
It's a first floor. She's not going to jump.
Oh, well, then just set him down on the bush outside.
Yeah.
Pretty tough, though. I mean, you've got to get out the window to get the cigarettes.
It's quarantined that much you can't walk out of your room? Come on.
I was surprised. She's been fined $1,300 for going up to the roof of the hotel and grabbing
I bet
the
you can't go on the roof.
Maybe that's
well,
it.
Australia lockdown is no joke.
Maybe that's
or
it.
as they say over there, no joke.
Right.
But you got to be able to walk outside.
A hotel staffer caught her and called the police.
But if she's at a hotel, I wonder if she was coming in and you're not supposed to leave your room for 2 weeks.
That might be it.
Like the people in Hawaii.
And you're right about Australia now. They are quarantining at the moment, and they will not let you out, even for hardly anything, it seems.
I guess it's different levels for different countries. I know in Japan you have to go. I wouldn't want to be a reporter or one of these, the color analysts that go over there and do this stuff, because you're in there for even when you get there into Tokyo, you're limited the places you can go, the times of day.
Right.
It's almost like you get to go to this great place and you can't
enjoy it.
You can't enjoy it. You've got to go to your hotel and to the venue, and maybe you can go to a market nearby, and that's it.
Yeah.
Are we still? I thought they were doing this stuff all from the broadcast center. I didn't think the announcers were in the room.
There are a few. There are a few journalists that are there and photographers that are there. I mean, the photographers, of course. Somebody's got to shoot the stuff.
And when you go to Hawaii now, do you still have to quarantine for 2 weeks before you can get out and enjoy anything?
Oh, I don't know. I know in Japan you have to stay in your room for 3 days, and then I think you get tested.
Yeah, of course.
Then you're still limited.
Yeah, and they're dealing with they've had it even worse than we have, even though our numbers are going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
A hero today, a 14-year-old girl at a clothing store in New York on last Tuesday. She was trapped in the fitting room. The lock was jammed. The store is in an old bank building, and the whole dressing room is behind a propped steel vault door. The girl's 7-year-old brother closed the door, and employees had no idea how to open it.
Ah.
We have a vault here.
Yep.
And that
could literally happen here.
That's true. And if that vault ever gets sealed somehow, they've long thrown away the combination to the lock. We have no idea.
Yeah, the person that had it's no longer with us. So.
That's correct. So we have.
Not with us.
There's no getting that. That's right. Girl's mother called 911. When firefighters came, they figured the easiest way to break into the vault was to go and drill a hole into the side wall through 18 inches of brick and concrete, which is exactly what they did. Firemen said, we used hammer drills, we used jaws of life, we used our cutter, any tool we had on the truck, and it took them 2 hours to drill a hole large enough to squeeze the teenager through. And she got through it finally.
She's breathing okay, though.
She was breathing okay. Yeah, she had enough oxygen, they said, for about 2 more hours inside that vault. Isn't that crazy?
Clock ticking.
Yeah. Way to go, 7-year-old brother. Jim, you're talking about being isolated for COVID. In Australia, this woman was given a $1,300 fine because she got out onto the roof of the hotel to get cigarettes. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Great show, P1.
Oh, thank you.
My daughter, her spring semester this last college year was considered a close contact. She was isolated for 10 days. She went outside to just do homework by herself, and after her isolation was up, they tracked her every move at the university, and they ended up putting her on residential probation, because she went outside to get some fresh air during her isolation period.
Man, that's crazy. I did not realize they were doing that.
I guess she was able to avoid double secret probation.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Boy, I didn't know, because, when I had COVID, I would go out in the backyard. Yeah. I was isolating, but somebody told me, get outside and do a little something, So I'd go out in the backyard and just walk, up and down the driveway. Yeah. I would walk some.
Like a mental patient.
Correct.
In your gown.
Yes.
Shuffling
with my
like
hand.
Steve Martin in The Jerk.
Very much. Remember the one day that really old guy drove by on his bicycle and said, "Hey, neighbor." And I was like, get away from me.
Beat it, old man.
I haven't.
Rude.
We haven't seen him riding in a while.
No.
Jacqueline, you're talking about isolating for COVID. Go ahead.
Good morning. I just got back from upstate New York, where I saw my son for the first time in a year and a half. Wow. He's in Canada, and they, for quarantine, he has to go into his apartment, and he cannot walk outside for 10 days.
Literally can't walk out the front door for 10 days.
Literally. So I asked him to ask Border Control. I have a dog. I have to take it for a walk. They said, you cannot. You have to get a dog walker.
Wow.
You cannot.
Did you try going Karen?
You have to get your hair cut first.
Like full Karen.
I think you should have gone full Karen on them.
I haven't seen my son in a year.
I know. Good Lord. It's unbelievable. So so he says food delivered, dog walker has to come by, all that stuff.
Yep. Cannot go outside, cannot see the sun. Nice. And he's had 2 negative tests. He has to show them 2 negative tests.
Yeah. Man, wow. It's unreal. Canada is no joke either. They're like Australia.
No, it's just America.
Not messing around. Thanks, Jacqueline. Appreciate that. Well, I mean, we've gotten vaccinated in higher numbers than these other countries. Even though we're still low, we have been vaccinated more than the other countries. And
I heard that on Friday it was the highest vaccine rate since February.
Well, I think
is that right?
Half million people.
Yeah.
What do you think's changed? The Delta?
Of course I'm talking about Delta, you twerp!
They're seeing these numbers. They're seeing these Delta numbers, and they're saying, all right,